Good morning, good morning, good morning. I apologize for my lateness, but for some reason this morning, I could not get it together. Been up in time, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm my own boss today. And most of the time, you all are the bosses by what it is that I'm doing. And this morning, I got up, I got my work done. Everything was done ahead of time, but I don't know. By the time I got to the outfit, that wasn't working right. So I was trying to make sure I had a couple of areas I couldn't straighten out on the dress. But anyway, I'm here. I'm here. How are you this morning? How was your weekend? What did you do? Did you do anything that allowed you to play, that allowed you to um, be observant, enjoy yourself, be less obligated, extending, kindness to somebody? Did you do any of that? Good morning, Joan, my faithful soul. Thank you so much for coming in to the space this morning with me. I don't know, and then I couldn't find my glasses, so I had some glasses. Don't talk about me because they do not go with what I have on. I usually like to be kind of coordinated, but these are a bit much. But I had left my glasses in the car yesterday, and I'm not. I said I'm not going back out there this morning, and I'm so close to coming on, so you'll have to bear with me when I want to read. But so far, I can see everything on my comment screen. But how are you, Joan? What's going on? You doing good? How's Jim? Good to see you. So, anyway, today we are going to talk about bosses. I don't know if you've ever been a boss or you've ever had the fortune or even misfortune of working with somebody as a boss, as your boss. But the interesting thing is, yesterday I got an opportunity to witness something. They don't even know that I watched it in action. But there's a gentleman that is very, very dear to me, and some other people that is going through something right now. And I watched him talking to people that worked for him, and it was such love and kindness that they had for each other. I said, you know what? That's the kind of boss you want. You want a boss that doesn't, make it where it's a rough day, it's a rough week, it's a rough year. You want to make it where they're glad to see you. And these folks are really glad to see him and help him in any way he can, as do I. And I don't even work for him, but he knows who he is. We're doing well. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Lori. Hey, Robbie. Hey, look at Debbie. Oh, everybody coming in, coming in, coming in. But anyway, Debbie knows we had a boss in New York that was just a great boss. And the only reason I decided I did this about 3 years ago, boss, and I said I witnessed it again where I saw someone was that so far above the um, the ability of just saying I'm telling you what to do, where people were saying, hey, what can we do? The people that actually work for them. And to me, that's awesome because that means you've moved above the level of just dictation. I'm dictating what you want done. It's like people anticipate what needs to be done and they want to do it. And I just felt that was just such a wonderful thing to see in action. So I found a couple of poems here, and it says, great bosses grant the glory they receive. It says, great bosses grant the glory they receive, offering their praise and their devotion. On them, the mantle settles like a cloak, designed to shelter lots of little folk, bearing them along in its emotion, yet freely we give more than we receive. Unknown author, but really good, really, really good. And here's another one that just says, thank you. It says, I really appreciate you, your helpful and giving ways, and how your generous heart, your unselfishness displays. I thank you for your kindness. I will not soon forget. You're one of the nicest people I have ever met. And to me, I watched that yesterday. And when I was leaving where we were at, I said, wow, that's the kind of person that I would love to always have worked for. Someone that can show me love and kindness and caring and compassion, um, for what I'm going through, but not only for what they're going through. And it's a mutual understanding of just generosity, you know. So that's my word today, boss. Uh, you know, bosses. You know, if you're a good boss, I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you a good boss? That's what Howard always was. That's right. We loved him. We did. We did. Howard was wonderful. We'd make him laugh and tell him where he was wrong, and he turned back around and correct it later on. You know, he had to have a hard head for a minute, right, Debbie? But anyway, what is a boss? It says a boss is a person who is in charge of workers, a group, or an organization. They're the head, they're the chief, the director, the chair, the advocate, protagonist. They may be the administrator and the controller, the auditor, the employer, the big wig and the big cheese, you know, all those names. And some of them, you know, we may play around with them when we're being funny, saying, yeah, you know, the big head's in, or the big cheese is in, or the, you know, the one that runs around, you know, the destroyer, you know, whatever we want to call them. But I've experienced good and bad, and then some that didn't matter. Either way, they were okay. You know, they kind of went with the way the wind blew, and a lot of times, because usually a head has a head. Usually a chief has a super chief or master chief or the ultimate chief. There's somebody up ahead of them. And so you have to look at who's there, you know, who is there. The benevolent, okay. The beyond bionic. All right, Debbie, come on now, big time. Yes, 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 yes. Those are really good. The broad-minded. I like a broad-minded person, someone that can not only come up with their own, but they accept other information that may come in and can be adopted to add to what they already have. That's good. So I put for my B, my first B is backers. I think a real good boss needs to be a backer, somebody, a person who supports or aids a person's cause or enterprise. You know, it's one thing for you to work for somebody, but if you get people that's really involved in it, then it's no longer even like work to them. It's like I'm going to help out. I'm going to put in my best effort because this person deserves that this company would go higher and they would be in a position to do more and hire more people, or excuse me, raise me up. Okay, I'm looking at that. So the backers for me is an ally, a benefactor, a supporter, and an endorser, an advocate, a protagonist, as we said, the one with the money. Says I've had bosses that were very nice, but had to be hurtful and mean things such as letting people go. Then I remembered that they have a boss. That's right. Everybody has a boss. You know, sometimes the boss becomes our mind. You know, I mean, I think as individuals, if we're really consciously in tune with what our heart says and not just our head, sometimes we've overspoken, misstepped, been misguided, and we have to go back and correct what we've gotten wrong. You know, to me, that's okay. A bully. Some people are bullies, Debbie, as bosses. They are. They really are. No lie. No lie. I'm quite sure there's many a person that has quit a job because they were being bullied by the boss, you know, or harassed in some kind of way. Now, to me, a boss must be someone who is observing. They're people who observe what their people are doing, what the people that are working for them are doing. How many of us have gone and not realized that the boss didn't recognize us only after the project was done and the accolades came in, and then we were not thanked. I'm telling you, if you ever have been involved with me in anything, I'm going to thank you. I'm going to thank you for coming. I'm going to tell you how much you appreciate it, because I believe to not say thank you is an insult. You know, sometimes we can get caught up in craziness and we may forget, but I always remember, even if it's after my tiredness is over and I go back over, did I do everything I'm supposed to do? Let's see, obligate. That's really good. Old man. You so funny, Debbie. You are too funny, too funny. But anyway, I said observe, and to observe is to watch, to be watchful, to be in it says should be in plain view, to see, to perceive is also observing. When you see something, then you can perceive something from it. And then it also says it notice it's something that we detect. We look at it and we make it almost as a discovery, for us. We inspect it. How many of us inspect things? I don't know. Maurice, are you in the place? I wasn't sure. And it says, pay attention to, recognize what we see, recognize it. Yesterday our church celebrated 94 years of at its anniversary, and it was wonderful. And we're kind of off on the anniversary date only because we weren't back in our church. Well, yesterday was the first day we got back into the sanctuary, and it was beautiful. Oh my goodness, it was just so beautiful. And they did this play called The Glory Train. Oh my goodness, it was so well done, so funny. And it's a fact, if you have Facebook and you look at, I think Maurice might have done it. I'm thinking our Maurice here, Myers. I'm thinking that he has it on his Facebook page, and it's probably tied into Greater Little Rock, and I believe Greater Little Rock is public, but absolutely wonderful. It shows you all the people that went in, and of course the conductor is not the boss. He's just giving the information at what gates people are being put off at. He started with West Hale, then he went to East Hale, then he went to Front Gate. That means they didn't get in. And the only person that got in was Mrs. Goody Good. She was the really one. She was the one who got in. I'm trying to think that I get her name right. It might have been Forever Good or whatever. But anyway, she was good. She was worthy because she gave to the poor. She looked after those in need in any way she could. She fed people. She did all the things. She visited people in jail. She did all those things. And it was shown as an observation of what we do, and we think, who's in charge? And they were really saying, in this instance, because I believe in God, they said God was in charge. He was in charge. He decided what gates everyone were getting at, and it was given to the conductor, who was the boss of the train, but not the boss of the project. The boss of the project was God. So it was really well done. So anyway, that was my observation from yesterday's production. The owner, that's really good. The oneness, ooh, the order. Yesterday, that's what happened. The order of who got off at what gate. Very good. Officials, who's in charge. Very, very good. My first S in boss is for support. A good boss should be supportive of all of the things, the ideas, sometimes even the crazy personalities, just knowing how they need to meld together, and listening, supporting people as they're going through whatever. Slave drivers. Sometimes they might be, telling you got to get up at this time and you got to do this by this hour and you only have a short suspense. They do all of that. Scrutinize. That's very good. Scrutinize. It says the person who is the supporter, it says they bear all part and weight of whatever's going on. That's the supporter as the boss. It says they're going to hold up and bear whatever happens. They're going to be the ones that will answer the call when someone says what's going on. They got to be able to say they know their company, they know their position, the skipper, the schedule, absolutely, the superintendents, the sensitive. How many know that sometimes you're dealing with really sensitive information as a boss? You may have people's intimate details of what's going on in their personal lives. They don't have any money, they have no food, the car broke down. How do you keep those things from making it be an interference to the job or being exposed to people who need not know? So the supporter is also a person who's going to hold up what's going on. They're going to keep it where no one who needs not know doesn't know. Okay. Then it says they're going to be the ones that will carry whatever information you gave them, and they would carry it without giving it to others. Seniors, okay, seniors, okay. What does satisfy and skipper? All those are good. Support also talks about whatever crops up, they're in on it. They know how to deal with what needs to be handled. They are the brace, because anybody you work for, you need to know that they have your back. you know um I always wondered about the people who drive really fast on the roads or have accidents in company cars. What happens to them after they, especially if it was their fault. Now, if it's not their fault, that's one thing, but if it was their fault, the fault of the driver, how is that handled? Because that's a heavy, that's heavy to think that your livelihood and liability is all caught up in the way somebody portrays how working for you is. I'll drive fast, I'll not be worried. So those things are, it says they are the underpin for what's ever going on. That's a boss. Good morning, Miss Rosie. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Today our word is boss. And sometimes we have to be boss of our houses, okay? Boss of various committees that we're on or whatever, or boss if you're an actual boss of a business, you're the boss. um, it says also, as support, you're going to be the one that reinforces what happens. So that is the boss. And somebody mentioned this area. I think it was Joan. My last S is scrutinize. I think as a boss, you have to be able to scrutinize what's going on. Selects. Yeah, they select who works for them, the projects they take, they do all of that. Yeah, they have to, they are, everything spins around the boss. So if the boss knows what they're doing and can delegate properly, then the business should be in good standing, as long as the money is, and they're where they need to be and serving the population they need to serve. Um, I had talked to some people one time, and they worked for a company that was so good, they said they would never quit. Never. Even if they went even if they went down to the point where they were being limited in terms of the amount of money they could get but they would be there to help support the company get back to being positive, and in the black and no longer in the red. I said, wow, that's awesome. That is awesome. Because that says what somebody believes about that company. Um, uh, let's see, signature. I like that. And scrupulous. Yeah, scrupulous is good, because you need somebody that's scrupulous enough to know what's going on and not make it not penalize the people that work for them for what is going on unless they contributed to it. And then I would try, if I were a boss, not to bring it onto the entire people that work for me, but I would deal directly with the person that we're dealing with, because to me that would be fair. But I said scrutinize for my last S, and I said examine or inspect closely and thoroughly. Sometimes we have to be a little bit more intrusive than what we like to be. We sometimes want to stay on the peripheral. We only want to know a little bit, and sometimes we may need to know a little bit more. So it says that we will examine and inspect, maybe survey, maybe even scan. It says we also should study, watch the patterns that are going on, watch how soon things are done, and if they're done orderly, the way they're supposed to be done. Do we need to go back and retrain? Do we need to really look at, bringing everybody in and doing a re-indoc? Because sometimes you just have to, people just missed it. They missed it, because you will find that as bosses, I know from myself, I've seen it where sometimes the people that are supposed to be working for you are working against you. Let's not act like there's not been people who are insubordinate. They see your position and they threaten it, not letting you know immediately, but you have to pay attention. So you have to be the one that really is scrutinizing what is going on, because sometimes that there's mutiny and you don't even know it. You don't know it. So as a person who scrutinizes, you says you're also exploring, You're doing research, you're probing, you're analyzing, and basically you're dissecting what is going on in your company. And I like that, Joan, because you're really looking at stabling the agency and stopping. That's good, Debbie. Stopping how people might, in some way, take things apart. You know, let's face it. I think people are good, but I also think people are, I would say, nicely malicious, jealous, unkind. Um, and that's not to say that we will not see them again. We will probably still have them work for us, but we need to be um, leery, conscious of who they are. Some people can be good, but they're not good until you let them know, that some of the things that they're not doing, or leaving out to do, have been missed. Because sometimes people think you're too busy to pay attention to them. You have to pay attention to everything and everybody. That's why I would never want, for me, I don't want a big company. Even my company is Winnie and Associates. And so everybody said, well, Winnie, who's the associates? When I work with them, then I form small agreements with them, and I do on a need basis for whatever projects I'm doing. I pay and then I'm done. That's how I do it. For me, it works because I don't carry a continuous payroll. I don't have continuous work going on. I am semi whatever, semi work, semi retired, semi relaxed, semi play, all the things that I do with y'all, you know. Let's say Slim Shady. Debbie, Slim Shady. That's good. But anyway, I found another thing that just talks about um, how in the future we need to talk about our new beginnings. And our new beginnings begin when we recognize where we're at, why we are here. And if it's where you are the boss or someone else is your boss, get to know each other. Get to know each other. You don't have to take them home. They don't have to come to dinner. You don't have to go out to dinner unless you have that relationship. In many instances, I've always had those kind of relationships where people said, hey, let's go to dinner, let's do this or that, because they become friends. They become friends, and the business is important to everyone, not just the boss. It's like when the boss can come down and also realize that, people working for them is important, and what they do is important. Kindness is important. Care is important. Concern is important. So all those things make it where we really look at a boss that is a backer and is observant and is supportive and does scrutinize. That is the boss. I want a boss like that always, always. It says there will never be another boss like my Howard out. Now Howard was bad. Howard was wonderful to work for. We could even make him smile and he would be mad, but you never know it. He would just say, Sandy, Debbie, he just give us something else to do, divert our attention, and we would get not only what we might have mislearned on, but then we do not only the new thing, but we pick up the old thing, because in the process, he's taught us his tolerance. He's taught us his kindness, his love, his concern for who we are. And so I agree with you, Debbie, that we will always have that ability to switch gears just from what he taught us. I'm hoping that when I'm talking to you, you're thinking about your own situations. Even if you're not working, there's still at times either you're in charge or someone else is in charge or others are in charge. How do you get with them and around them? Like planning family reunions or a big event like a wedding or even funerals. Let's face it. Sometimes that's when you find out how people concern themselves with things that aren't of the heart but are purely of the head. you didn't do this and you didn't do that. You missed this, you missed that. So it's always, even though we only look at boss in business, there's bosses all around us constantly. Either we are or someone else is. But listen, I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful day. I know I started 4 minutes. I started 4 minutes late, which is not I'm usually about 1 or 2. So my 4 minutes, I got it down to 9:30. So this was a shorter session only because I had a shorter word today. I usually try to do five letters or up, but today it was a little shorter. But I'm going to be back on Wednesday, and Wednesday we'll come up with another word for you to utilize for your sole purpose of you not being stuck. Because I'll ask that question, are you stuck? And you'll be able to say maybe, and then again, maybe not. Have a great, great day. If you don't do anything else, you don't have to send any money or anything, but if you would be so kind as to go ahead and click share, then more people would be doing it. And oh, incidentally, I got the Rising Star, the Rising Creator again on Facebook. So I am doing well. And I did notice that my views are up, and I think it's at 64,000. So people are viewing us and they're listening to what it is that you are working with me on. I appreciate you so much. I love you. I'm not a boss, but I'm sweet. I'm kind. I'm loving and caring. And if anything else, I would certainly, if I could, I would send you a dozen roses. Okay. I would do that, but I don't know your addresses and they cost too much right now. But when I see you, I certainly give you a smile and a big hug. Okay. See you soon. Thanks. Love you too. Love you guys. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.